And so being a mom, it's just all those PTS I guess PTSD, which if you wanna call it that, and trauma, things popping back in my head when I do discipline my own children. It's a lot of that comes back even to this day, and I'm 31, and it comes back full force sometimes, and I'm just like, "Lord, you gotta step in and get me out because I can't do this by myself," and I felt for so many years that I was by myself, and I know that's so cliche to say that a lot of people say that they feel alone and God's, like, right there, but I truly felt so by myself that I felt so isolated that I couldn't talk to anybody, and if I did try to talk to anybody, I was either gonna get beat at home or I don't know, I just was so scared, and I know I shouldn't have been, but as a child, I didn't felt like I have a voice, and I didn't feel like I was old enough to have a voice, and what I did say didn't matter because who's gonna believe a child, and even though I had marks, I had bruises, I had cuts, I had, burn marks or cigarette burn marks too, who's gonna believe me? Yes, I have marks, but who's really gonna believe me when certain people in my family have said, "Oh, well, she's tripping and falling, or she's just clumsy." So I'm like, "Okay, well, who's gonna believe me? I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and never said anything." And yeah.
Have you caught yourself doing the same behaviors that your mom did
Yeah,
with your own kids?
when my oldest, because 'cause I've got 2 boys, they're 8 and 10, so when my oldest turned 6, it was so crazy. It was right after his birthday. They're April and May, so right after April, it was he had done something or rolled his eyes or something, and I literally just snapped, and I grabbed him, and I didn't shake him, but I just grabbed him and I got in his face, and I just said some things to him that no parent should ever want to, say to a child, and it was the same thing that I was saying that my mom was saying to me that I said to him, and it was the same age. So it was kind of a weird, bad full circle that I was like, "Oh, he's at the age where that I was as a kid, and I don't ever wanna talk to him ever like that ever again." I was just telling, "What is wrong with you?" And that used to be a big thing that I would say all the time, "What is wrong with you? Why can't you do this right? Why can" and I was saying everything that my mom said to me, and it flew out of my mouth, but in my head, her voice saying it to me was continuing to come out at the same time, so it was almost like she was speaking through to me, like through me to him, and I just had to stop, and I just lost it crying because I don't know, I just told him, I was like, "I am so sorry. I need to just give me a minute. I cannot touch you right now. I know that sounds weird. You're a child, because at the time they were 6 and 4. I said, but this is when it started for me as a kid. I said, I just need to back up a little bit. And so a lot of the disciplinary things that we do as parents, as husband and wife, my husband kind of deals with that more. The older they get, discipline does change a little bit because of just the things that they do are different. Not everything needs to be disciplined a certain way. And then kids being opposite, just discipline's different, and so my husband kinda takes the role of that a little bit more with them being boys and then men and one day head of their households. He wants to make sure that they truly understand what a father figure, what a husband looks like because he had that, I didn't, and so I am still in the process over the last couple of years really learning what it's like or what it should be like to be not only a daughter, but daughter in real life because I had to pretty much be a mom very quickly to my brother, and then later my half brother, but to also be a mom and a wife and what that looks like and retraining my brain, but also kind of rewriting not my story, but just rewriting the narrative that was told over me as and as a young girl, and that's still hard. It's still, even as a wife, my husband is very calm, cool, collective. You're able to have a conversation with him and talk things out and but not growing up that way, seeing your parents throw things at each other and scream and, swinging, that kind of stuff and just screaming. I was doing that, at the beginning of our marriage. So it was really tough the first couple years of marriage of just relearning because, coming out of that, dating for a short amount period of time, it was probably almost 2 years when we dated and then we got married. So we never really, and it was long distance dating. So it wasn't really, we were here to really know each other. And kind of what our lives were going to look like. And so when we got married, I was bringing that trauma into our marriage unknowingly